A decade ago, a mother and psychotherapist lost her daughter to eating disorders. WENY-TV's JB Biunno talks with her about her daughter's life and internal struggle. JB.
Renata Barbara Hale-Subert of Mansfield lost her daughter Erin, and after years of grieving and completing her memoir, she's ready to tell her story.
I'm seeing more of the healthy girl when I think of her now. That's who I picture in my head.
Not a day goes by for Barbara Hale-Subert without thinking of her daughter Erin, a young girl, bright, athletic, creative, with exuberant energy. Erin was the star of the family.
She was a good gymnast. She was a great dancer. She would choreograph dances to music. She was a very, very creative kid.
Whether it was dance or drawing, or just being just a very, very bright gal. And that was part of her downfall, is that she was too smart.
When Erin was 8, she got sick like many children do, but the illness wasn't what it seemed. It would become the early gusting winds to Erin's perfect storm.
Her personality was changing. Things were not what they had been.
Erin had a form of rheumatic fever called Sydenham's chorea, which is associated with symptoms of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The sickness was followed by Barbara's divorce to Erin's father, Roger, causing Erin to spiral into a depression.
It's like a perfect storm. There's always a lot of things that come together.
The doctor looked at her, weighed her, and said, she's lost way too much weight. And I think we're talking about anorexia.
Barbara is no stranger to helping others. She and her husband Andrew are both psychotherapists. Helping clients is an integral part of their lives, but Barbara says trying to help Erin was very different.
I felt so profoundly helpless and terrified about what was going on for her. And it felt like I was fighting for her and fighting this disorder that she was holding on to.
As Erin continued to hold on to her disorder, her condition worsened. She was severely anorexic and became bulimic as well.
I say it, I don't mean it to be a cliche, but she looked like a concentration camp victim. She really did. It was very, very hard to look at her.
Erin's condition shut down her life. The constant binging and purging dropped her weight to a life-threatening 55 pounds at the age of 18. It soon became clear Erin wouldn't live much longer.
We don't know how her body ever held out. I have no idea, because she just brutalized, her body with what she did to it over the years.
One evening, Erin was found unconscious in her apartment. She was rushed to the hospital but never woke up. She was dead at the age of 23. The perfect storm that had ravaged Erin's body had finally dissipated, and it was a new day for Barbara, whose road to recovery was just beginning.
Certainly my taking it personally, what was happening for her, my feeling like I somehow had messed up or failed her or not been good enough in some way, that it was my fault, made it that much harder.
Tomorrow we'll delve more into how Barbara was able to heal through writing her book in part 2 of Riptide, The Road to Recovery. Live in the studio, JB Biunno, WENY-TV News.
We now continue our story about a local mother and psychotherapist's memoir about her daughter who died from eating disorders.
And WENY-TV's JB Biunno is live in the studio with part 2. JB?
Scott, Renata, Erin was 23 when bulimia and anorexia took her life. I talked to her mother, Barbara, on Mother's Day about writing, healing, and helping others.
She had to decide she wanted to live, and that she wanted to live a more normal life, and nobody could make her decide that.
Barbara's daughter Erin was gone, leaving her with a conscience full of crowded emotions. To cope with her loss, she began to write.
It was a place I could safely unload what I was feeling.
But it was also a struggle, reliving all her daughter's pain in an effort to work through her own pain.
I would watch Barb sit there and just come apart. Just come apart.
Years of journaling, editing, and revising finally came together as Riptide, struggling with and resurfacing from a daughter's eating disorder.
An outcome of it may be that I de-glamorize what it's like for someone to have this disorder and what it's like for the people around her who care about her, or him.
Anorexia and bulimia tears apart thousands of homes every year. I visited the Soulstone Center, a nutrition clinic in Elmira, and spoke to Erin's dietitian Carolyn Hodges about the increasing severity of this global issue.
There's more women that die from this than any other disease from age 18 to 22.
1 in 5 women struggle with an eating disorder or disordered eating habits. 90% of those who have eating disorders are women between the ages of 12 and 25. And 20% of people suffering from anorexia will die prematurely from complications related to their eating disorder, including suicide and heart problems. Carolyn pledges to help anyone who visits the clinic.
As long as that individual is willing to continue to try, okay, we're not going to give up on them.
Barbara wants anyone with a family member struggling with an eating disorder to know there is help available, because trying to work through it without outside help can lead to getting caught in the riptide.
The only thing worse than one person drowning is 2. And I think in a sense that's part of the message too, that it's important that we don't go down as well.
Of course, I would imagine that there would be certain days that it would be more on your thoughts. Erin would be more on your thoughts. Today's Mother's Day.
Yeah, exactly, Mother's Day, yeah.
So where is Erin in your thoughts today?
Again, I happen to believe that the spirit of Erin lives on. And so I just sort of communicate with her in my mind, and I imagine her whole and healthy. And so I feel like this is launching a new phase for me.
Barbara told me writing Riptide helped her forgive herself for Erin's passing. Reporting live in the studio, JB Biunno, WENY-TV News.